Hello students, we have come to the last segment of the chapter in a living world. So in the last segment we are going to study the taxonomical aids. So here the taxonomical aids, it refers to the tools which are going to help to study the taxonomy. Okay, so AIDS, aids means here it is not a name of a disease, but it means it is a tool or something that is helping for us to study the taxonomy. So the textbook definition for it is, taxonomical aids are the resources which store and preserve specimens as well as information to help in taxonomical studies. Okay, so these are the resources which store and preserve, which are going to store and preserve specimens. Okay, so this is very important word. Specimen, it is anything sample which can describe the organism. Okay, any sample. Specimen may be live, may be dead. Okay, or the specimen, it may be a whole organism, or a specimen, it may be only a small part of an organism, anything. So that can be considered as a specimen. So as well as information to help the taxonomical studies. So that is going to help for the taxonomical study. So in that we are going to study total 5 different taxonomical aids today. So out of 5, the first one is the herbarium. So in the name only we can understand that herb, H-E-R-B. Herb means it is really somewhat related to the plants. Okay, so what is herbarium? It is a storehouse or it is a repository of plant specimens that are dried, pressed and preserved on sheets. Okay, so the herbarium is a storehouse of plant specimen. This is very important. Plant herbarium is having the collection of only plants, not any other organisms. Okay, it is regarding only about the plant specimens that are dried. The plant specimens are completely dried. They are pressed and preserved on sheets. Some herbarium papers are available. The plant materials are firstly they are going to dry and later they will press them on the papers, and that one we call it as a herbarium. But when we consider the bigger trees, we cannot bring the whole tree and we cannot mount that whole tree on the paper, isn't it? That's why for bigger trees, taller trees, we are only going to collect the specimen of the leaf or the specimen of the inflorescence or the specimen of something. Okay, the sheets are arranged according to universally accepted classification. We have gone through that already. Universally accepted classification, ICBN and ICZN and all. Okay, herbarium sheets are labeled with information. The sheets, whatever they are containing, the herbs, the herbarium sheets, they are containing the information about date and place of collection. Okay, date and place of collection, on which date that particular plant specimen has collected, and the place where it is collected, whatever the place it may be. Okay, any corner of the world, but the name of that place has to be mentioned on the herbarium sheet, so that we can easily identify where it is from. English, local and botanical names. That herbarium sheet along with the date and place, it should contain English name, what it is called in English, local name. This is very important because different plants in a different corner of the world, it is having different local names, isn't it? In a single state, if you consider for a smaller plant, it used to be called with the different types of local names. So that English name should also mention, local name should also be mentioned, as well as its botanical name. Botanical name is same all over the world. Okay, so all these 3 words, names should be mentioned on the herbarium sheet. Name of the family, it should be mentioned. Collector's name. So collectors means the individual who is going to collect that particular plant specimen. He may be a professor in an university, or he may be a scientist, or he may be any research scholar, PhD student. Okay, his name should be mentioned on that herbarium sheet, so that such type of collection will be deposited in a building, okay, in a repository. That one we call it as a herbarium. For example, near to us there is a herbarium in Pune in Maharashtra state. Okay, that is the nearest one. So if we went there, we can get lakhs of different species of the plants in a herbarium form. Okay, so this is first one. Second taxonomical aid is the botanical gardens. Simple one, botanical gardens. We already aware of the gardens, but here the special one is the botanical garden. What it is? These are specialized gardens having collections of living plants for reference and identification. Okay, while in herbarium, the plant specimens were dried and pressed. That means they have already died. But here the living plants are going to be found. In the botanical gardens, we are going to find the living plant specimens. Both are for plant identification only. Herbarium as well as the botanical garden. Both are for plant identification. But in botanical garden, it is in a living form. That is helping for us reference as well as for the identification purpose. Each plant is labeled with its botanical name and family. Each plant which is growing in that natural condition, in the botanical garden condition, it is going to be labeled with its botanical name as well as its family name. So some of the famous botanical gardens which are very important. The first one, Royal Botanical Garden at Kew in England. Okay, in England there is a place called as Kew. In that Kew there is a Royal Botanical Garden, the biggest garden in the world. Okay, which is having millions of different types of plants. Not only available on that particular area, but different plants from different corners of the world. They have been rearing there. Second one, Indian Botanical Garden, Howrah, West Bengal in India. So in our country, there is a biggest botanical garden called as Indian Botanical Garden. It is situated in the West Bengal. The Howrah is a place name. So there it is present. It is the biggest botanical garden in India. Another one, National Botanical Research Institute, Lucknow in Uttar Pradesh, in India only. Okay, so these three are very important for the exam point of view. So next one, the third taxonomical add is the Biological Museum. So museum, you already aware of that, but here it is a biological museum. What it is? It is a collection of preserved plants and animals for study and reference. See, in herbarium and in botanical garden, only it was related with the plant. Okay, but the biological museum is having both preserved plants and animal species. That means preserved, here it refers to non-living. We are not going to observe any living organisms in the biological museum. Remember, all are dead. That means they have been preserved in some containers. Biological museums generally set up in educational institutes, schools and colleges. Okay. Biological museum, they have been commonly established in schools, colleges for reference purpose. So what is present in a biological museum? What we are going to observe? A museum contains specimens preserved in preservative solutions in containers or jars. Okay, specimens you already know, preserved in preservative solution. So preservative solution, it is one liquid, commonly it is a formalin. Okay, we call it as a formalin. In that particular solution, the different plants and animal specimens are going to be stored in a particular jars or containers, commonly made up of glasses, transparent glasses. The preserved dry specimens of plants and animals we can also observe. Okay, in the biological museum, we are not only going to observe the preserved solutions, we are also going to observe the dried specimens also of both plant as well as animals. Third one, the insects preserved in insect boxes after collecting, killing and pinning. The insects are not going to preserve in any solutions. Okay, they are going to be collected in an insect box where they have been killed and they have been pinned, like we used to be pin the notice to the notice board. Like that, the insect will be pinned into the insect box. Larger animals like birds and mammals are usually stuffed and stored. What it is, for a smaller plants or for smaller animals, we can easily store them in the glass jars available. But for larger animals, larger plants, larger animals like birds and mammals, for example, ostrich bird, or example for any mammals, okay, bigger mammals like gaboons and chimpanzees and other endangered species, we cannot store them in the glass jar, isn't it? That's why what they are going to do, they are going to stuff. What is stuffing? Stuffing is a process. What they will do, they will cut open the body of that organism, they will remove all the internal organs outside and they will fill that empty space with some cloths or some other material and they will stitch the skin. Okay, so now what we are having only the skeleton, as well above that skeleton there is a skin is present. Okay, so that is the stuffed one. Museums also having collections of animal skeletons. So skeletons of animals, best example human skeleton. It used to be observed in almost all biological museums available, so that we can easily study the skeletal structure. Okay, the skeletal structure we can easily study it. So this much of information we can get in the museum. Okay, these are the components of any museum. So next one, the fourth taxonomical add is the zoological parks, or in short we call it as a zoos. So what it is? Zoological parks are the places where live wild animals are kept in protected environments under human care. So this is very important. Zoological parks are established one. Okay, they have been established where wild live animals, not domesticated or not dead one, the live wild animals have been captured from the forest and they have been rearing in that particular place. For what purpose? Under the human care. Human is used to take care of that animals. You might have visited several zoos or zoological parks, isn't it? What is the importance of the establishment of zoological park? What we are going to study in that one? It helps to learn about their food habits and behavior. Okay, zoological parks are mainly meant to study the food habit of that particular live or wild animal, as well as to study its behavior, how it is going to behave, whether it is aggressive or whether it can be domesticated, whether can we get any work from it, like that. Okay, this is what the main purpose of the zoological park. Next one, the fifth important taxonomical add is it is the device use taxonomical key. Fifth one, in short we call it as a key. It's a taxonomical key in biological. It is the device used to identify organisms based on similarities and dissimilarities. So to identify any new organism, we are going to take a chance like similarity and dissimilarity. We are going to compare that with the previously available organisms. So it is based on the contrasting characters, generally in a pair called as couplet. Okay, couple means two, couplet means two. It is based on the contrasting characters. So you already know about the characters of organisms, like how a human looks like, how a banyan tree looks like, okay, how a coriander plant looks like, how a coconut tree looks like, how a bird looks like, isn't it? But what is contrasting character? It is not only a character, it is a contrasting. Contrasting means two faces of a same character. For example, if you take any coin, okay, any coin, it used to have two faces. Okay, like that a character is having two faces. Best example, if you consider any plant, the height is a character of a plant. Okay, height. But what about the contrasting character? The height may be taller or the height may be dwarfer. So dwarf and tall are the contrasting characters. Understood? Another example is, if you consider the position of the mouth in fishes, position of the mouth in fishes. So how it is going to be contrasting? The mouth may be terminal or the mouth may be ventral. Terminal means at the tip of the nose, ventral means on the lower surface. So these two are the contrasting characters. Okay, two faces of a character is called as a contrasting character. Each couplet has two opposite options, like already you know, contrasting means two character, that's why they are been opposite one. Of these, only relevant option is accepted and other is rejected. So if we are having two contrasting characters, if we go on match through with, we can always going to be matched with only one character. Okay, so that the other character will be discarded or rejected. Each statement in the key is called a lead. Lead means the one character which is going to be matched with. It is called as a lead, L-E-A-D. It is not to be spelled with lead. It is lead. It is lead. Separate taxonomic keys are required for each taxonomic category, such as family, genus and species for identification purposes. So, if we are going to identify a class of an animal or class of a plant, what we are, for example, angiosperm is having two classes. Which are those? Monocotyledon and dicotyledon. So, like that, if we found the seed with only one cotyledon, which class it belongs to? Obviously monocot, isn't it? Like that, for each separate taxonomy. So no, for class, for family, for genus and all, there will be separate keys are available. Last one, the keys are generally analytical in nature. The keys are to be analytic. That means the key should be analyzed. That means you have to compare the similarities and dissimilarities. So this taxonomical key is a theoretical one. Okay, already we know it is a device. Device means any computer software or any hardware also. Okay, any script we can also use as a key. So that here we are not going to approach any practical one. We don't have any practical approach in the key. So last one, some theoretical approaches are here. Some theoretical one which are going to help for the taxonomical study. Which are those? Flora, manuals and monographs. Okay, these are theoretical one. So these are the means of recording description, also help in correct identification. Recording description, we are going to record in a text form, okay, like in a book. Okay, what is flora? Flora, it contains the actual account of habitat and distribution of plant species of a given particular area. So in general, how to understand this flora? Flora is nothing but one book or like a dictionary. Okay, if you observe any dictionary, you will going to find the meanings of different words. Like that, if you observe any flora, you are going to, what you are going to get? Habitat and distribution of plant species of a given particular area. So that means the flora is particular for particular area. A same flora cannot be applied for all the places. Okay, several different places are having different flora, and it provides the index to the plant species found in a particular area. In a particular, it is going to provide us the index. In starting of if you start to read any textbook, there will be index page will be there. So what it is going to give us? A summary of the book. How many pages are there? How many units are there? Isn't it? Heading of the chapter and all. Like that, the flora is going to give us a index of that particular area. And flora is always concerned about the plant species. Okay, it is not about animals. Whatever the plant species are available in that given particular area, that is only going to be noted in the flora. Understood? Next one, manuals. So manuals are the records that contains information for identification of names of species found in an area. So manuals, it is not only about the plant. In manuals, we can get information of both plants as well as the animals. Third one, monographs. Mono means a single. Monographs are the records that contain information on any one taxon. So monographs are going to help to get the information of any one taxon, starting from kingdom, ends with the species. Okay, so these are some theoretical taxonomical adds which are going to help for the taxonomical study. Understood? So, but the important one are the starting 5 as well as these 3 are also very important. Isn't it? So this is the end of the chapter living world. Very small chapter but very fundamental one. Isn't it? We have studied very important aspect. The, what we can say, the basement of the biology. Isn't it? The fundamental of the biology. These are the fundamentals. So what we have studied till now? Starting from characteristics of living organisms in the first class. Second one, what we have studied? The biological nomenclature, rules and all, rules of the biological nomenclature. Next in third class, what we have studied? Different taxonomical categories, different examples. In the last class, we have studied the taxonomical aids. Okay, so you just go through these slides and you just make the notes. Okay. And we will meet in next class with a new chapter. Thank you.